You've never lived anyone else's life, yet somehow you miss places you've never been and feel attached to people who barely know you exist. How can something feel so real when technically it should not exist at all? To understand that, we need to go deeper than logic. There are emotions that do not arrive loudly. They do not knock at the door. They do not explain themselves. They appear in the middle of an ordinary day. You walk through a crowded street, surrounded by strangers, and suddenly something shifts. The person passing you is no longer just a face. The woman waiting at the crossing is not just part of the background. The man sitting alone by the window is not just a detail in your scene. Each of them is carrying an entire life, a childhood you will never see, a private fear you will never hear, a memory that still changes the way they breathe, a hope they may never say out loud. And in that moment, the world becomes much larger than it was a second ago. This is often called sonder, the sudden realization that every stranger is living a life as deep, vivid, and complicated as your own. Before that moment, we tend to move through the world as if our own story is the main film. Other people pass through it like extras, a cashier, a driver, a neighbor, a face in the crowd. But Sonder gently breaks that illusion. It reminds you that in someone else's life, you may be the stranger, a brief figure, a passing shadow, a person they will forget before the next traffic light turns green. There is something beautiful in that, and something quietly unsettling. Beautiful because it makes you softer, unsettling because it makes you smaller, and from that smallness, another feeling can begin to form. Oculism, the awareness of how limited your own perspective is compared with the scale of the world, history, and human existence. You look at a city from above and see thousands of windows glowing in the dark. Behind each one, a different life is unfolding. Someone is falling in love. Someone is losing sleep. Someone is making tea with shaking hands. Someone is laughing at a message you will never read. And you realize that your mind, no matter how intelligent, no matter how sensitive, can only hold a tiny piece of what is happening. You are not outside the world observing it completely. You are inside it. One point of view, one body, one timeline. Oculism is not simply sadness. It is perspective arriving with weight. It is standing in a vast museum of existence and understanding that you only have time to visit a few rooms. And once the mind becomes aware of that, it begins to notice other strange rooms inside itself. One of them is limerence. Limerence is not ordinary affection. It is not the calm warmth of mutual love. It is the involuntary pull towards someone mixed with hope, uncertainty, and an almost painful hunger for emotional return. Someone enters your life, perhaps not deeply, perhaps only through a few conversations, a few glances, a few messages, but your mind begins to magnify everything. A delayed reply becomes evidence. A small gesture becomes a mystery. A change in tone becomes a question you cannot stop asking. Do they think about me? Did that sentence mean something? Why were they warmer yesterday? Why are they distant today? Was I imagining the connection? Limerence turns another person into a puzzle, and the more uncertain the answer is, the more your mind keeps searching. You are not only drawn to them, you are drawn to the possibility of being chosen by them. That is why limerence can feel so consuming, because underneath the obsession is often a very human need to be seen, to be wanted, to be confirmed. The danger is not having feelings. Feelings are part of being alive. The danger is when your nervous system begins to treat another person's attention as proof of your worth. Then every message becomes a verdict. Every pause becomes a threat. Every small sign becomes something you must decode in order to feel safe. And the way out is not to shame yourself for feeling too much. It is to slow down and ask a harder question. Am I truly seeing this person? Or am I seeing the version of myself I hope they will finally validate? When that question appears, the mirror begins to crack. every strange emotion comes from people. Some come from places. Canopsia is one of them. It is the eerie feeling of being in a place that is usually full of life, but now feels empty. A school during a holiday, a shopping center after closing time, a stadium after the crowd has gone home, an office corridor late in the evening. Nothing terrible is happening, and yet something feels wrong. The space seems to remember what used to be there. Footsteps, voices, laughter, movement, expectation. All of it has vanished, but the air still feels shaped by it. Canopsia reminds us that places are not just walls, floors, lights, and doors. They are emotional containers. They absorb presence. They hold rhythm. They carry the invisible trace of people who have passed through them. When that presence disappears, the space feels like a body without breath. And perhaps that is why it feels so strange. Not because the place is empty, but because it was not meant to be. Then there is Velikor, the quiet, slightly melancholic atmosphere of an old bookshop. Dust on wooden shelves, pages softened by time, books that have belonged to other hands before yours. You pick one up, and for a second, it feels less like an object and more like a small archive of strangers. Someone once carried this book in a bag. Someone paused on a sentence. Someone may have folded a corner because a line hurt too much to leave untouched. Velikor is not dramatic. It is a thin sadness, almost tender. It reminds you that objects can outlive the moments that gave them meaning. A book can leave one life and enter another. A page can hold the warmth of people who are no longer there. And maybe that is why old bookshops feel so intimate. They are full of stories, but also full of evidence that everyone eventually moves on. From there, we come to Hireth, a Welsh word for a kind of longing that is difficult to translate. It is the ache for a home you cannot return to, or a place that may never have existed in the way you remember it. Perhaps it is your childhood house, but when you go back, the rooms feel smaller. The light falls differently. The street has changed. Perhaps it is a summer from years ago, but the people from that summer are no longer the same, and neither are you. Perhaps it is not a physical place at all. Perhaps it is a version of safety, a version of family, a version of love, a version of yourself that once felt easier to be. Hireth hurts because what you miss is not only a location. You miss who you were when that place still felt possible. You miss the person who had not yet learned certain losses, the person who still believed some things would remain, the person who did not know that time could take something away without making any noise. And the cruel part is this: even if you return, you may not find what you're looking for, because sometimes the home you miss is not behind you. It is inside a memory that has been edited by grief, tenderness, and time. Close to Hireth is Anamoya. Nostalgia for a time you never actually lived through. You see an old photograph, a grainy film, a street from another decade, a song that sounds as if it has been waiting for you since before you were born. And suddenly you feel homesick for a past that was never yours. You imagine the afternoon light, the clothes, the slower pace, the faces of the people who never knew you would exist. But what you are missing is not the real past. The real past had pain, boredom, fear, ordinary problems, and unfinished lives. What you miss is a dream built from fragments, aesthetic memory, borrowed atmosphere, a soft illusion created by the mind. Anamoya shows us that the brain does not only remember, it also composes. It takes images, sounds, and stories, and creates a feeling of belonging where no actual memory exists. And sometimes what we call nostalgia is not a desire to go backwards. It is a desire to feel something that the present has not yet given us. That is why chrysalism feels so comforting. The warm, protected feeling of being indoors while a storm moves outside, rain against the window, wind pressing against the walls, the world outside becoming rough, cold, and unpredictable. But inside, there's a small light, a blanket, a cup held between two hands, a room that feels just strong enough to protect you. Chrysalism is not only about weather, it is about contrast. Outside, chaos. Inside, shelter. Outside, noise. Inside, permission to soften. For a moment, you do not have to win. You do not have to explain yourself. You do not have to become more impressive, more useful, more available. You can simply exist. And sometimes that is what the mind has been asking for all along. Not escape from life, just a room inside it where you can stop bracing. But shelter is not always easy to find. Sometimes, even among familiar people, you still feel misplaced. That feeling is monocopsis, the subtle, persistent sense of being out of place. You sit in a room where everyone seems comfortable. The conversation continues. People laugh at the right moments. Nothing is obviously wrong. And yet, inside you, something does not fit. You respond, you smile, you play your part. But it feels as though the world is speaking in a rhythm you can imitate, not truly hear. Monocopsis is not the same as being alone. You can feel it while surrounded by people. It is the sense of being slightly misaligned with the room, the group, the life you are currently inside. And because there is often no clear reason for it, you may turn the discomfort against yourself. Maybe I am too sensitive, maybe I am difficult, maybe something is wrong with me. But not belonging everywhere does not mean you are broken. Sometimes it simply means that the environment around you does not meet the deeper parts of who you are. Not every place that accepts your presence understands your inner world. Not every group that includes you gives you space to become real. And sometimes the feeling of not fitting is not a failure. It is information. Then there is Mauerbauer Traurigkeit, a long word for a painfully familiar impulse, the urge to push people away, even the people you care about, not because you no longer love them, not because they have necessarily done anything wrong, but because connection itself begins to feel heavy. Messages feel like demands. Kindness feels like pressure. Being known feels too close. Even care can feel like something you must respond to before you are ready. So you begin to build a wall, not always a dramatic one. Sometimes it is made of shorter replies, canceled plans, unanswered calls, a smile that says, "I'm fine," when you are not. At first, the distance can feel like relief, but then the emptiness arrives. You wanted space, not abandonment. You wanted rest, not disconnection. You wanted to be understood without having to translate every part of your exhaustion. Mauerbauer Traurigkeit often appears when the inner world is overloaded, when you have been strong for too long, when you have had too many feelings with nowhere gentle to place them, when even love feels like another room you must keep tidy. The answer is not to disappear from everyone. The answer is learning a kinder boundary. I need some space today. I still care about you. I will come back when I can be present again. A boundary does not have to be a wall. Placed with honesty, it can become a door. And behind all these emotions, one final recognition waits. Onism, the frustration of being trapped in only one body, one life, one timeline. You will not live in every city. You will not learn every language. You will not meet every person you might have loved. You will not become every version of yourself that once seemed possible. The world is too large, life is too short, and you are here in this one narrow stream of time. Onism can feel like grief for unlived lives, the careers you did not choose, the homes you never moved into, the friendships that never began, the roads that closed simply because you took another one. But there is another side to it. If you cannot live every life, then the question becomes, which parts of this one deserve your depth? Not more speed, not more comparison, not more panic about what you are missing. Depth, to be truly present with one conversation, one room, one season, one person, one morning you would normally rush past. Onism reminds you that limits are not only cages, they are also the shape that gives a life meaning. A song becomes a song because it cannot contain every note. A path becomes a path because it does not go everywhere. And perhaps a life becomes yours because, out of infinite possibilities, this is the one you are actually here to live. So what do all these feelings reveal? Saunder shows that you are beginning to see others more deeply. Oculism shows that you are aware of your smallness. Limerence shows a longing to be chosen. Canopsia shows that you can feel the emotional echo of a place. Velicor shows that objects can carry the shadow of other lives. Hiereth shows that you may be grieving a version of home. And Nemoia shows that the mind can create nostalgia from imagination. Chrysalism shows your need for safety. Monocopsis shows that you are searching for true belonging. Mauerbauer Trauerkeit shows the connection can overwhelm when your inner world is tired. And Onism shows that you are facing the finiteness of being alive. None of these feelings make you strange. They are signals. Signals that your inner world is paying attention. Signals that language is trying to catch up with experiences you may have carried for years without a name. But naming a feeling is not the same as being trapped inside it. You are not your limerence. You are not your Hiereth. You are not your monocopsis. You are not your onism. You are the one who can notice them. And when a feeling has a name, it becomes less like a ghost in the room. It becomes a visitor. You can look at it. Ask where it came from. Listen to what it is trying to protect, and then decide how you want to respond. Maybe next time you walk through a crowd and feel the weight of all of those unseen lives, you will not feel only small. Maybe you will feel connected. Maybe next time you miss a place you can never return to, you will understand that you are not only missing the place, you are holding compassion for an earlier version of yourself. Maybe next time you want to push everyone away, you will not destroy the bridge. You will simply ask for a little space on it. And maybe next time you feel the ache of having only one life, you will come back to this moment, this room, this breath, this day, this one small life that is not everything, but is still yours. Because perhaps the point is not to live every possible life. Perhaps the point is to stop abandoning the one life that is actually asking for you. And if one day you find yourself feeling out of place among all the familiar things, remember, you may not be losing something. You may simply be moving closer to understanding yourself. And if this journey touched even one quiet corner inside you, stay with my Psypher, where the feelings we rarely name are allowed to become a little less heavy, like a small light turning on in the room